The state of Tennessee refers to this as traffic school. Another name for it could be a defensive driving class. That's the skill that we'll be teaching. It's a skill that I'll break down into three basic tools of defensive driving. The first is preparation. The second tool is anticipation. And tool number 3 is response. Preparation is an underestimated part of defensive driving. Preparation is the tool that allows every other defensive driving tool to work. Anticipation might be defined like this. You're in a moving vehicle, in an environment filled with other moving vehicles, people in motion, and variable road conditions. Anticipation means having all the information you need and the tools to interpret that information so that you can respond in a timely manner. Unless you have the tools to anticipate how other drivers will behave or what road conditions lay ahead, particularly when it's crowded or during poor weather, any response to a hazard may be too late to avoid it. Response means being able to change how you drive to better fit the situation. Being responsive means skills like altering your speed as necessary, trying to maintain enough clear space around the vehicle, and knowing how to navigate a turn or other maneuver to suit the environment. Skills like that. Ultimately, response comes down to the daily driving habits that characterize a safe driver, as well as the responses to a hazard or emergency that can hopefully help you avoid a crash. We'll be using those three tools: preparation, anticipation, and response as a framework for defensive driving in this class. Now, this is not a typical framework for defensive driving. In truth, there is no one single approach that everyone uses. The National Safety Council, for example, lists the following as their 3 elements as the formula for defensive driving: recognize the hazard, understand the defense, and act correctly and in time. That's not a bad list, but it just covers how to respond and leaves off what you do to be ready to respond: preparation and anticipation. When it comes to anticipation, the NSC also recommends using a what-if approach, a sort of imagine the worst idea. Another popular defensive driving system was designed specifically for commercial drivers. Known as the Smith system, developed by Harold Smith in the 1960s, it lists 5 keys to defensive driving. Aim high in steering, which means look as far ahead as you can. Keep your eyes moving, which means don't stare in any one direction for more than a few seconds. Get the big picture, which means having a general awareness of what's happening all around you. Make sure others see you, which is pretty self-explanatory. And leave yourself an out, which means keep the vehicle where there's room to stop or steer to escape danger. Again, a pretty good list, but it focuses mostly on the second tool, anticipation, without discussing response, or for that matter, the first tool, preparation. Personally, I think preparation is a good place to start. So let's look at preparation.